Wow, it's Christmas Eve already. Have you been good this year?
Nope.
Santa's watching, and he's watching Barbershop Podcast because we are broadcasting around the world live in high definition and high fidelity. The very best of Hamilton music and musicians, Barbershop Podcast from Boxo Studio. And we want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas Eve. Episode 109. Can you believe it, Ryan Cannon? Holy smokes.
Okay, I'm trying to show the elf in the background. Our elf on the shelf.
What it got shelved, didn't it? I don't want to know what's going on in there. I don't know they let the elf back in the shelf. Anyways.
That's awful.
Christmas Eve has come again. Another season. We've had another great year. Looking forward to the next year. Certainly not looking forward to saying goodbye to this year. It's been a good one. It's been monumental in our world, the Barbershop Podcast. And we can only assume that it's going to lead into even better things next year.
And we got a cool New Year's Eve show lined up too.
Yeah, cool New Year's Eve show. You're going to want to watch that next week. But let's not forget the spirit of the season, Ryan Cannon, because with the hustle bustle and the craziness of the Christmas season, the rabid commercialization of the whole process, and the corruption and the hijacking of the meaning of Christmas, music being used as some sort of viscous lubricant in order for somebody to insert something into somewhere and pull out $1. You notice what I did there?
I noticed.
Okay, off the rant.
Yeah.
Now it's Christmas Eve. You can put your feet up. You did your best. It's time to let the holiday begin. The true holiday, the spirit of Christmas. Let me hit, and we're bringing it to you a little bit early here at Barbershop Podcast. We brought in who I consider to be Father Christmas, the spirit of Christmas. Certainly, the librarian and the high minister of music in Hamilton. He actually has. We're going to find out about this. He is ordained to a certain extent. He could marry us. All right, here at Barbershop Podcast.
Is that legal here now?
Yes, he has powers. He has real powers, and that's why
you just want my benefits.
He's Kringle-esque, you have to admit. We have what I consider to be the godfather of Hamilton music. Came by it by hook or crook. He's here. He's ours now. He's got wonderful stories to tell, a great bit of history. I want to welcome Bob Bryden to the store. To the store.
Look over
here.
You
go, the store. He's brought all his merch
man.
with him. It looks like a store in here.
I got stuff.
To the studio. I guess with all the years you've had in music, you get a lot of stuff, don't you?
You know, it's crazy. I call my company Marketing Man's Nightmare because I've got so much stuff from so many different eras, and I really don't know what to sell anymore or how to promote myself at all. So I just call it Marketing Man's Nightmare.
Yeah, kind of a grab bag of a little bit of everything.
And from all the different eras of the past, past few eons. So it's crazy.
And real kaleidoscope when you think about it, because there's been a lot of different heavy, and you've been at the epicenter of it.
Yeah, it's really weird how my life's gone. I sometimes tell people I seem to have a rep in several different eras and genres. I have a rep with the psychedelic crowd from the late 60s. I have a rep with the progressive rockers from 70 to 75. I have because of my journey to Hamilton, I have a rep with the punks because of having managed Star Records and then become a label and produce the Forgotten Rebels. And then, so there's three genres right there where I get a lot of feedback from people. And I have fans,
Yeah, and people who remember you for those different phases and bump into you again and can't believe you're still doing it. I mean, I have to say, Scotty Baclar, as jealous as he is of your musical career, is more jealous of your hair. And I think there are many. Well, Robert Johnson made his deal. I don't know what yours was, but you have absolutely beautiful hair.
It's weird, man. Like my mother never went gray. It's like I got that gene, whatever that is, and I got a bit of gray, but it's sort of covered by the blonde. But yeah. I don't know what that is, but I like it.
Literally, it's all you could do at that point. It's like, I have to be in music.
It is my trademark.
Yeah.
I figure if they never remember a single song I sang, they might say, "Oh yeah, the guy with the hair." Yeah. Some people call me the blonde
That used
Aussie.
to be everyone in the day.
It used to be. In one of my days. But some people call me the blonde Aussie, so I don't mind that.
That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work. Well, I tell you what's worked is you in a lot of different bands over the years.
Yeah.
Before we get into, we got some wicked vinyl we're going to play from a very early band that Bob was in, and he's going to flash some of the awesome vinyl he has and tell some of the stories. So we whipped out the Riga, and we're going to spin that. And we've got some videos. He's going to play some live stuff. He's got his new record CD, Yorkville Days, released a critical acclaim. It's a great piece of work. A lot of stories about Hamilton and him being how he got here, and what he's seen and done in that time. But let's start, as we try to do, in the very early days. Primordially, how did music ebb into your
out of the primordial ooze,
musical ooze? What was it?
Well, okay. Seeing as how you have the very first song on the very first album I ever made all queued up on vinyl, I'll start there because I'm very honored because my first band that recorded was called Rain Ghost. I'm going to just backtrack a little bit. I spent the first 12 years of my life in Ottawa, but my dad was a bank manager. He got transferred to Oshawa. So I spent my critical teenage years growing up in a factory town. I went from clerical to factory, and it's pretty intense, me in the 60s, and me versus the Catholic Church and all kinds of things that went on there. But I quickly, kind of became a musician I call myself the accidental musician. The reason how I became a musician, my dad's friend wanted to store his Ludwig drums in our basement. So, there we had this set of Ludwig drums in the mid-'60s, same set that Ringo had, which kind of freaked me out at the time too. And I wasn't really playing them. I was hitting them once in a while. But at the high school I went to, a couple of guys were looking for a drummer. It was just like something out of the Blues Brothers. They came up to me and they said, hey, we hear you're a drummer. I was 15. We hear you're a drummer. I said, well, I have drums. And they looked at me and they said, you're the drummer. I'm not kidding. So that's what I say. I'm the accidental everything, but the accidental musician. But that was 65. And then quickly, by 68, I had taken up guitar because I wanted to write. That was my key thing. I wanted to write songs. So I wrote songs and made my first album with Rain Ghost. And I'm very honored because a few years ago, I bought the rights. I went and bought the rights from the owner to the 2 Rain Ghost albums, and I remastered them, and then I sat on them for a while, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But I got a call from Spain, of all places. This is why I called one of my comeback tours. I called 50 Norwegians Can't Be Wrong, because I got all this rep all over the world, and the Spaniards called me. And they paid me up front more money than I'd ever seen in my entire life in the music business to do limited edition vinyl reissue of the 2 Rain Ghost albums, one of which you're holding right now.
Yeah, then tell me about this. What originally came out full on vinyl? Because everything came out on vinyl. Yeah. Like you didn't have a choice.
That's right.
It was pre-cassette.
That album came out originally in 1968. And it's become, it's become more popular now than it was then. We were pretty crazy for the scene at the time, a little town.
How were you? Were you doing your own publicity and your own press?
We were doing everything. I mentioned to you earlier, I'm very BCRTC. There's the CRTC regulations that came in around 1970, but much of what I did was BCRTC, before the Canadian content. And when you were doing everything, and it was the age-old story of you couldn't really make it in Canada because the record companies were so subject to the American companies and all that stuff. Still, personally, my favorite bands of all time released records in the same era: the Kensington Market, the Poppers, especially the Ugly Ducklings. I still think that. Yeah, Somewhere Outside by the Ugly Ducklings to me is still the greatest album ever made in Canada. Mick Jagger heard them and thought they were awesome. So. Yeah, that whole era, I'm kind of a champion for those bands that kind of went by the wayside, including mine.
Yeah, and Yorkville itself, and we'll touch on this many times. It gave birth because, and it's happened so many times in so many urban situations where the people, the creative class, the game changers flocked to there, and it fostered that creative brew that made things happen. And then the eyes started turning, and then the parasites and the exploiters and the bankers and everyone else roll in there, and it becomes something else entirely.
Yeah, well, just quickly jumping ahead for context, that word again. Context, if people don't know that in the late 60s and early 70s, Yorkville Street between Yonge and Avenue Road was a thriving sort of art scene. And as you mentioned, a lot of game changers got started there. Joni Mitchell, Gordon Lightfoot, Bruce Cockburn, Murray McLaughlin,
Neil Young
playing the coffee houses. Anyway, but yeah, it was really, really something. And the street was kind of run down, and it was coffee houses, and it was a little shabby, but in a great way. And now if you go there, which I did to sort of get ready for my new album, Yorkville Days, I went there last summer and took photos, and I was kind of blown away walking down the street, because now it's the polar opposite. Yeah. It's the ritziest area of Toronto.
Yeah,
you know?
And funny why that is? Well, you know why it is, because great art springs eternal. Everyone wants a piece of it, even those without a soul, but they get a little bit of soul with us tonight. We're going to play a track off of Rain Ghost, from Rain Ghost. Outsider was the name of the album, and
Outsider's the name of the label. Outsider Records. Yeah,
so
just called Rain Ghost.
It's a self-titled record.
Yeah. Travels of Blue Paradox.
Thank you, Mr. Bryden.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right here at Barbershop Podcast.
Travels of Blue Paradox. Rhyme of turquoise. Wake up to a cosmic morning. Caress the heart of dying amber. And seek the crucible of life within one grain of sand. Travels of the Blue Paradox. Change will come. 4 million years before the dawn of man. Metallic spheres and crystal spheres boggle the universe and confuse the heredity of the unborn.
Denounce the border, pervade the streets with precious grapes of wrath. Give me your tongue to bleed the broken mind.
paradise. Beware.
The Big Bang.
And that is 1968's Rain Ghost featuring a 17-year-old Bob Bryden. You were a dyed-in-the-wool musician. You said you didn't start playing till you were 18. So what were you doing?
Guitar.
Guitar.
I played drums for 3 years.
Yes, we learned the story of the drums, which was excellent.
Cool.
Well, I have drums. I have been in the presence of drums.
I've been in the presence of drums. That's funny.
The drumminess has worn off onto me. I feel qualified.
Yeah. I never actually got recorded playing the drums, so that was probably a good thing.
You let them make that decision. They hired you. You didn't have to sell yourself hard.
Yeah.
Bob Bryden in the studio. He's got so much great music. He's got a lineage that flows through Hamilton and surrounding areas, touching on a lot of the styles and a lot of the people and the sounds that were coming out right from the 50s. He is a child of the 50s, so he knows the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s.
I'm a man of many decades.
And still releasing new material.
Yeah.
So all along, not only being someone who was within that community, but actively in that community. So let's talk a little bit about how you got to Hamilton. I thought it was a great story.
Okay, we're kind of going in a loosely chronological fashion here. How I got to Hamilton, well, then we're going to jump way ahead. We'll
hang on.
Do you want to just
we'll hang on there.
Okay.
I've got what we got actually. There's because it's Christmas. We're on the truly on the eve of Christmas.
Right.
Your musical entity with Christmas is apropos. Tell me about. Tell all of us who aren't familiar with the work and the group Christmas. Tell me about it.
Okay, cool. Well, in 1969, when Rain Ghost broke up, Rain Ghost had made 2 albums. I was looking to form my dream group, my super group, and I called a bunch of musicians together. I'll never forget it. It was December '69 in the Sears coffee shop at the Oshawa Center, and I had picked these musicians. I mean, it sounds kind of pretentious, but I literally handpicked these musicians from around the Oshawa scene for the last 5 years at that point. Called them together, we met, and I told them I want to form a band with you guys. And I even had the name for the band. The band was originally called, this is apropos, the Society for the Year-Round Preservation of the Spirit of Christmas. I mean, okay, that was chosen over the Abraham Lincoln Freedom of Man plan.
Right.
And but yeah, and of course we shortened the name to Christmas. But I remember at the time, there was a philosophy behind it. The philosophy was exactly that, the year-round preservation of the spirit of Christmas. And of course at that time that just meant party hardy 365 days a year. But it didn't have any super religious overtones at that time. But
that was truly the love generation, though. So there must have been, in everything you did, music and the spirit of...
The element was there. Yeah, for real. So, and you know, it's really crazy because Rain Ghost formed and we're recording almost instantly. Christmas formed and we were recording almost instantly. And we put out an album... you know, it's funny, the second Rain Ghost album and the first Christmas album came out on the same day, which was really weird because the Rain Ghost was broken up. But the first Christmas album is the one that's worth, it's the most collectible album I have. Actually, I have it right here, an original even.
Reach over to your...
Yeah, my stash. This is the very first Christmas album. This is an actual Allied Paragon pressing. And this went on eBay a few years ago, well, 2005, when the American dollar was worth something. This went on eBay for over $2,000. And I actually gave Ryan a picture of that maybe he can insert
flash
at some point.
To proof that this is not just made up pudding. This is
I took a picture of I saved
the
eBay page in case anyone would not believe this. But anyway, yeah, so Christmas made an album right away, and then on the Allied label. And then we were quickly snatched up by a booming new record company. Really, at the time, they were kind of like Canada's Apple. Not Apple the computer, Apple, Beatles type label, Daffodil Records. And it's really interesting, the Hamilton connections too here, because Christmas were signed to Daffodil, and we were their token sort of underground band, in a sense, prog rock or psychedelic band. But the main artist and the first album on the Daffodil label was Official Music by King Biscuit Boy and Crowbar. And I immediately got to know King Biscuit Boy and Crowbar, and we opened up for King Biscuit Boy several times, the legendary Hamilton blues harp player, and he was tremendous to me. I have the fondest memories of Richard Newell. Here we were on opposite planets when it came to music. We were these young, like I was now 19, and we were doing this spacey, long 12-minute songs, prog rock and everything, and he was just this hardcore, down-to-earth blues man. He loved us, and he was so nice to me, and here we were, these opposite kinds of music, and he would let us open he had no musical prejudice, is what I'm saying. So that was pretty cool, and Christmas went on to make a total of 5 albums, including a couple of quasi bootleg things. But we made a lot of records, culminating, probably our most ambitious record was called Lies to Live By, which was released in 1975, and it was a really dark symphonic prog rock thing. And and again, Christmas. So
Christmas, we're going to hear some Christmas, obviously, and keep in mind the era and you were grooming, and you had a very clear idea, but I have the feeling that you're willing to take your hands off, and what would the final product would be. You just wanted to have great ingredients.
We wanted to make music. That was it.
Yeah,
great music. I should qualify the video we're about to show.
Yeah, so this video sounds very ambitious. So,
we're not really going to hear the band Christmas right now. We're going to hear a Christmas song. And Christmas, the band, not the season. We're going to hear a song that Christmas recorded on the second Christmas album called Heritage. But in 2007, around that time, a Toronto psych band called the Saffron Sect, who were actually founded by a Hamiltonian named Gavin DeAnda, another Hamilton connection. They actually approached me and said, Bob, we would really like to back you up on some of your old music. And I just thought it was a great idea. So this sort of neo-psych band from Toronto, we practiced, we rehearsed, we learned some Rain Ghost and some Christmas songs, and we did a series of shows in Toronto and Hamilton that were called a Rain Ghost Christmas Revival, not reunion, but revival. So what this video is Bustin' Out Tonight from the Heritage album by Christmas, but done live in Toronto in 2007 by the Saffron Sect, a group of musicians who are about the same age as Christmas was.
And would certainly get the vibe of what you were doing.
They were such an encouragement to me, because they flattered me and they honored me. And so the video does include some still photographs from the early Christmas era. You'll see some actual shots of Christmas, the band, the original.
All right, here's a little introspect. Bob Bryden and Christmas, right here at Christmas Eve on Barbershop Podcast. Now that's busting out tonight, and that was the Saffron's
Sect.
Saffron Sad, who was
Saffron's Sect from.
Well,
they're from Toronto, but Gavin Deanna's from Hamilton, and he sort of fronts that band.
And he totally got what you were doing.
He did,
and wrapped that in a beautiful package.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the connection to Hamilton, but a lot of things continue to flow for you from Yorkville. Yorkville being in the and probably even in the beatnik days before it started getting press.
The latest I've read about the Yorkville village scene in Toronto is 61. That's Zalyanovsky of the 11 Spoonful was sort of like the lone hipster in the village at that point, according to one report I just read. But 61, so yeah, end of the beatnik era maybe kind of thing. But actually, who knows? I don't know what was going on there in the 50s. Only the late 60s, really.
Right. But for you, it was the energy. It was a spark.
It was Mecca. It was Mecca to me. Yeah.
And you did a lot of writing there, I imagine.
Well, I got a lot of inspiration there. And I mean, I was writing all the time. I mean, I was 17, 18, 19 when I was traveling in from Oshawa every time I could, hitchhiking, taking the bus to go to the fabled Yorkville scene.
Remember how much the bus was in those days?
No, I haven't got a clue.
$1.75?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I hitchhiked more than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for bringing it up, because it is the name of my new album, Yorkville Days. And there's even kind of a Hamilton connection as to how that title and the song came about. I was doing a radio program. It was actually Rick Taylor's radio program, and I was in the waiting room. And Edgar Bro was there, who's a good friend. And Edgar and I have a similar kind of career arc in that we both made psych albums in the 70s that have become revered of sorts, and then took a break from the music business and then came back, etc. But anyway, Edgar just looked over at me and said, "Bob, everything you do reminds me of Yorkville." And I took that as the greatest compliment, because in the late 60s and early 70s, by the way, he meant it as a compliment. I think.
Ed's a bit deadpan, so it's hard to tell sometimes.
Anyway, he said that, and I took it as a great compliment, because I spent so much time traveling into Yorkville. As I said to you earlier before the show, I'm a champion for the bands that are BC, RTC. And my favorite bands are, we mentioned that on the show, I think, Ugly Ducklings, etc. Yeah. But I used to go in to see those bands live in the little coffee houses on Yorkville Avenue. And it was so inspiring to me, and to be that close. I mean, as close as I am to you right now, I would sit across from Keith Mackay of the Kensington Market, or Skip Prokop and Adam Mitchell of the Poppers, and because those were really intimate venues on Yorkville Avenue, and just get really inspired. But I realized after Edgar said that to me that I know I'm not completely accurate here, but with all the musicians that got their start on that strip, I didn't know of a song about it. I mean, they say Joni Mitchell's Night in the City is about Yorkville Avenue, but there was never any real anthem about it. So I really wanted to write an anthem, a sort of wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald or Canadian Railroad trilogy version,
Absolutely.
of the Yorkville. So I'm not saying I didn't want to do it by rote. I wanted it to come directly from my heart and directly from an inspired place. So over the course of a fairly quick time period after Edgar said that, I did come up with the song, and it's the kickoff track on my new album, and it's the song that sort of articulates my whole Yorkville experience.
Well, I'd be honored if you do it live for us.
Okay. With a little reservation. It's a very ambitious song. But I'll try and do it with one acoustic guitar for you. When I was a young man, I would leave my little town and take the bus or hitchhike as often as I could into the big city of Toronto to enjoy and partake and be a pilgrim on the road to Yorkville, because that scene was happening. It was comparable to Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco or Greenwich Village. A lot of music, a lot of magic in the air. Lived in a small town in the turbulent 60s.
searching for some camaraderie beyond the factory. Every weekend I'd board that famous bus, heading for the bright city lights in cosmic exodus in Yorkville days. Change seemed possible, a way out of the maze. Ideals seemed plausible, we felt we knew love's ways. Back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville days. Ambling down that street with my feelings in full view, joining all the other freaks on Yorkville Avenue in Yorkville days. It all seemed glorious, the night air hummed with joy, the reigning sense victorious for each Yorkville girl and boy. Back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville days, where our youth was spent. Now the dollar is king, those days are gone. Oh, oh, back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville days, back in Yorkville, 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 Yorkville days. We'll think of something. We'll think of something. We'll think of something. We'll think of something.
Wow. Yorkville Days by Bob Bryden. You got nothing to worry about. That was a wonderful rendition. Ambitious or not, right here. One man, one guitar.
Thank you very much.
Nicely done.
Appreciate that.
So you've got such a long, storied recording history, gone through a lot of different technologies too, I imagine.
Yeah,
seeing
right.
it from, and it was tough.
Would you like to see my 8-track?
Yeah, I would. I would actually. You have your very own 8-track, still in the wrapper, I may say.
Christmas heritage, the 8-track.
They've banned that type of cellophane, I think.
That's why I'm keeping it. It's a collector's item for sure.
That will destroy the ozone. No.
I'm sure it did.
But you know, being part of that, where people understand, you know, it's free or it's 99 cents, it's instantaneous. And I've touched on this before, the thrill of the chase, the hunt, like a song when you hear it coming through the air on the radio, and now you must find a tactile copy of it. That was a real
That's my
rush, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a collector. There's a section on my website called "The Collector Becomes the Collected," because I was a record collector first, and now I'm proud or privileged to say that my own records are collectible. So I should give a plug for my website too, by the way. It's www.bobbryden.com. bobbryden.com will give you a lot of this history all written down and sort of mapped out for you.
Well done. We'll have that link on our page.
That'd be great.
barbershoppodcast.com, because if you're watching it, and you are, because I know you're listeing to me right now, share it, love it, share it, share the love. You know, you're on
Absolutely.
YouTube or on iTunes. There's no excuse for this
Yeah, I've got
generation.
about 47 videos on YouTube too, so I'll just put a plug up for
Kind
that.
of there, you know.
Yeah,
Just
we're going
look
to
it
play
up.
some of those videos.
We're going to play some of the videos. We're
Yep.
going to keep playing some live, and we're going to play something now from one of your many recordings. You have a favorite in there, Ryan Cannon? I know you've been thumbing through them.
Yeah, I believe it is going to be Leopard Skin Cadillac.
I like the way that sounds.
Can I preamble that? a
Yeah,
little
so you can
bit?
preamble that a little.
Because
Tell-
now we're still semi-chronological here. We've done Yorkville, but now we're in the 70s and we're moving towards Hamilton for me. And I came to this neck of the woods as a result of being hired by Mike Starr of Starr Records in Oshawa in 1978 to come and manage Starr Records in Hamilton. And that's a long story in between. But Christmas broke up in 1975, and I spent a couple of years sort of floundering. I'd done so many trips back and forth to BC, and I was just a typical 60s, 70s person, sort of looking for myself, searching for, gazing at my navel, but on different parts of the continent.
Continent, here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, here, there, and everywhere, to quote a Beatles song. But yeah, so I was kind of floundering, and I walked into Starr Records Hamilton Oshawa one day, and Mike just looked at me and said, "Would you like to go to Hamilton to manage a record store?" And it was funny, that was a Wednesday, and that the next Saturday, the Saturday coming, I had to be in Hamilton, because I'd been trying my hand at acting, and I had to be in Hamilton to do a TV show for CHCH TV. So I came in and I checked out Starr Records, and I thought, yeah, this is a pretty interesting place. And I actually started, I believe, the Monday.
So you had no faith you were going to get a call on Tuesday from CHCH.
Well, I was busy, but I had no sense of that this is the direction of my life, and I'm going to make it in this particular milieu or whatever. So I took the job at Starr, and I said to you earlier, and I want to be kind about this, because I felt like I was kind of like the marshal coming into town to clean up the town.
You were given the job to do.
I was given a job to do, and part of the problem was that the money in the store was being funneled
to build a musical empire.
to build a musical empire with Teenage Head. And so I wasn't too popular with the Teenage Head gang for a while there, because I was basically told to sort of clean up the act. And but it's funny, after working at Starr for a very short period of time and really enjoying it, and the Forgotten Rebels gravitated towards me, and they used to come in after every day to the store and talk. And my production credentials, I eventually produced 3 or 4 records with the Forgotten Rebels. And I enjoy telling the story of my production credentials, because Mickey and Pogo a Go-Go, Chris Houston, used to come into the store frequently. And one time they came in and they said, Mickey said, "Hey, Bob, we made a record. It stinks. You're the only guy we know who's ever been in a studio before. Can you help us with it?"
It's a great Mickey, too, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I've hung out with him a lot. But so my credentials for being a producer were I'm the only guy they ever knew who'd ever been in the studio before. So I did do a salvage job on their first EP, and I'm pleased to say that it ended up sounding pretty good for all that radical material that's on it that got us into so much trouble, which I'm going to tell you later. The whole story about how I had to defend them to the Office of the Attorney General.
Yes, it's the AGO.
But we'll get to that. But so yeah, I produced the Forgotten Rebels, and Starr Records was a really going concern. I used to love it there. But the thing that happened to me was, being a store manager, sort of record label impresario, we called ourselves the label with no choice. Starr Records, the label with no choice. And the store was called Under New Mismanagement. But I eventually, obviously, especially after I produced the Rebels, and I realized, well, hey, this is by the way, this is the dawn of the indie scene. Mm-hmm. This is the dawn of do-it-yourself recording. And so I realized, oh, I can do it myself too. So I really gravitated back towards getting into writing, recording, and playing music. At first, I did a solo album called, it's right here. This is See This Brick. See This Brick is my first solo album.
And that's you?
That's me. Oh, that's a long story, too.
You'd have a face stand-in, a
I
face
just
double?
slicked my hair back because
So
I was
you look
mad
like-
at my hippie girlfriend that day.
Yeah.
I was so mad. Talk about
You look
things.
like Brian Ferry.
You
Like,
do
you know?
things. You do things that last for eternity, right? I was mad at my girlfriend that day, and I slicked my hair back, and now I got to live with it forever. But this is my first solo album. This is my album that says, "Hey, I produce Forgotten Rebels, but I can make an indie record too." So
Excellent.
there you go. But
Leopard skin.
yeah,
Cadillac.
I'm going there.
Getting there.
We're just getting there quickly. I lived on James Street North, above a store, right beside the cathedral there, King, I forget what it's called, the cathedral just before Barton.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real rough neighborhood at the time. It's really funny, I jokingly say that, like, well, now it's Janesville, and everything's so cool and artsy, and it's trendy, and people are even moving there from Toronto to start studios. And when I lived there, it was rumored to have the highest homicide rate in Canada.
Yeah.
So I had a really interesting life experience living on James Street North in the early 80s. And I have a whole series of songs called Songs from James Street North. And they all kind of make it onto an album here and there. I haven't sort of put out a whole album called Songs from James Street North, but I do have, there's a couple on each of the last two albums I did that are songs from James Street. And this is one. It's called Leopard Skin Cadillac, and it's a true story.
Some of the best stories are true stories, and from someone who was also living in the North End, James Street, in the early 80s.
Wow.
And I remember going to Copper John's quite a few times, which has now got a much more famous name.
Yeah.
But
just down the street from you.
Just down the street. Mm-hmm. All right. Here's a little slab, a little slice of reality, all rolled into one at Barbershop Podcast. Leopard Skin Cadillac from Mr. Bob Bryden.
Stupefied morning, sleepless and lean. Sound outside my window, ruthless and mean. Bonafide hardcore, taking no chance. This ain't no soft porn, dilettante stance. Fire sirens wailing, 2 doors down. Barricaded back door was the talk of the town. Street walking SS, beat a boy blue. Out of my hands, now what would you do? Girl shuffles moaning, drunks at her heels, wheezing and groaning, that's how it feels. Living in the dead zone, living in the dead zone, living in the dead zone, knife at your back, waking up in the dead zone, waking up in the back of a leopard skin Cadillac. Carcass in the doorway, half human man. He got in a poor way, territorial jam. Cops got no call to get out of their car. The harder they may fall, so they stay where they are. This impious cathedral, black mouth of hell. Calling it evil, it's too soon to tell. These priests of the pavement call it unpaid. Dues of derangement that time won't let fade. Someone starts running, someone gets caught. You live by sheer cunning, that's how it's fought. Living in the dead zone, living in the dead zone, living in the dead zone, knife at your back, waking up in the dead zone, waking up in the back of a leopard skin Cadillac. All that radio compassion, Tom Waits and the Boss. someone's head gets smashed in, who counts it a loss? Cases of humans swimming in booze. Not much is left now, not much to lose. Weightlifting warriors live above stores, chugging back the Yank beer and leering at whores. Neighbors got no face, nobody's your friend. Smiling's out of place, suspicion is grim. If you live in a bubble, you might just get by till somebody breaks it and drags you outside. It's the law of the jungle, the law of the street. It's the law of the mongrel, straw dog in heat. Living in the dead zone. Living in the dead zone. Living in the dead zone. Knife at your back. Waking up in the dead zone. Waking up in the back of a leopard skin Cadillac. Living in the dead zone. Living in the dead zone. Living in the dead zone. Knife at your back. Waking up in the dead zone. Waking up in the back of a leopard skin Cadillac. Leopard skin Cadillac. Leopard skin Cadillac.
There's your leopard skin Cadillac, a little snapshot from James Street North in the early 80s from the pen and the mind of Bob Bryden.
Funny you should say snapshot, because the album's called Polaroid Verite. That's exactly the concept behind the whole album. So.
You know, and that's the beautiful thing about writing, especially when you have that title or the line. You know, that's a song. I don't have to worry about writing the song if I can remember that line, because that writes itself.
I start with titles 90% of the time, because that's the concept, right?
Exactly.
That's the concept for the story.
The concept for the story.
Yeah.
The greatest story ever told.
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Kind of Christmassy.
You know, exactly. And this is the season where you have to believe in miracles.
Yeah.
And you have to suck it up. You have to fight the urge to feel the darkest, shortest, coldest days.
Cynicism is easy, Luke.
Cynicism is easy, Luke. So here we're going quasi-religious.
Well, we'll just stay quasi.
Bob Bryden in the studio sharing with us some of his fabulous, fascinating musical past from Oshawa, Toronto, and eventually Hamilton.
Yep, we're in Hamilton now.
And Hamilton, and that last piece sounded very reminiscent of the Rebels and of that sound. That was it's still a TH&B sound. We've touched on this, but that what Hamilton produces, although it has similarities, you know, to a Detroit or a New York, whatever, on any genre, has its own flavor. Yeah. You know, and it's a good flavor, you know, before you have any crappy
usually
jokes.
Edgy, but real.
Edgy, yeah. And
you know, there's a quote from Chris Houston, Pogo a Go-Go of the Forgotten Rebels, in the new movie that just came out, Last Pogo Jumps Again, which I'm, again, privileged to have been a part of. I was interviewed for it. I went to the premiere last year in Toronto, the theatrical premiere. Now it's out on DVD. Actually, I can hold it up.
There you go. Hold it up, and it's available.
Yeah.
You know, you Google any of this shit.
Last Pogo Jumps Again. It's got everything from about the late 70s to early 80s punk scene in Hamilton, Toronto, and I think London's in there somewhere. But it's about the Canadian punk scene. It's really, really cool. The feature is 3.5 hours long. Then there's 2 hours of extras. All kinds of interviews with Nazi Dog, Stephen Leckie, and Mickey DeSatis of the Forgotten Rebels, God rest his soul, Frankie Venom of Teenage Head. They're all in here. I'm in here. And we're talking about it the way we are now in this movie. But while I'm at it, though, I think I should hold up Liz Worth's book, too. If you really want to get the details on the whole punk scene in printed form, this is Liz Worth's Treat Me Like Dirt. This book really tells the story. She spent years getting what interviewing all the combatants in the punk movement
yes.
from the late 70s, early 80s, and all the interviews are here. Really, really cool book. Yeah, so yeah, it got me. It's just funny. I'm getting all this press, and then I'm in a movie about the punk scene, and it's all kind of cool.
It's interesting how in that things do go in cycles, and you do it, and it runs the gamut, and then another generation discovers it, and you kind of give yourself a little break. 3 years later, you're like, okay, you know what, that was pretty awesome.
Actually, where I started was I was going to quote Chris Houston from that movie. He says. It's hard to be pretentious in Hamilton.
Yes, yes. One of our great episodes, he came on early, and we spun some Evelyn Dix and some of the things he was doing. He's one of the greatest guys to talk to.
You're pretentious here, you're gonna get beat up.
Well, don't last very long doing that.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, and we're gonna play some live music. We're gonna feel the energy of live music. And for anyone who keeps saying, I got to get that, yeah, you do. Go support the places that support live music. Live music is better.
Yeah.
Bumper stickers should be issued.
That's a good one. Well, and you can buy this song on iTunes.
and play it at a live music club. Don't be a Christmas shill. Give us some of the good stuff.
All right. I got a bunch of country songs. I think I have like 4 or 5 country songs out of several hundred, so it's not like I'm a country artist or anything, but I love all genres of music, so I just write what feels right. So I'm going to do a country-ish song. I'd actually like to dedicate this tune right now to Scotty Bacalar, because he's a fella I just kind of met in person. I think we're Facebook friends, but I just met him, and I just want to dedicate this song to him. It's called Cowboys Are Guys You Can Trust. When you feel that all hope is gone and everything is a bust, that's the time to keep riding on. To persevere is a must. When the night seems hopelessly long and the trail eternal dust, that's the time to remember, my friend, cowboys are guys you can trust. When you think that your time's all used up and there ain't nothing left but the crust, that's the time to say, giddy up, and them old spurs to adjust. When the coyote howls on the hill and the wind don't do nothing but gust, that's the time to remember, my friend, cowboys are guys you can trust. Cowboys are guys you can trust with your life. Faced with a gun, they will toss you their knife. Cowboys are guys you can trust with your wife. Faced with temptation, they always do what is right. When the drive seems so long and so hard, and your old gun is turned into rust, that's the day when the bushwhacker strikes, and it's gotta be him or us. When the sidewinder rattles his tail, and the devil's foaming at you in disgust, that's the time to remember, my friend, cowboys are guys you can trust. Cowboys are guys you can trust with your life. Faced with a gun, they will toss you their knife. Cowboys are guys you can trust with your wife. Faced with temptation, they always do what is right. When you don't feel at
home on the range, and for you, no one makes any fuss. That's the time to sing whoop-tie-yay. Give old man fate your best cuss. When you know that there's only one more mountain to go before dusk, that's the time to remember, my friends, cowboys are guys you can trust. Cowboys are guys you can trust. Cowboys are guys you can trust.
Cowboys are guys you can trust. And you need to trust people. You need to feel the love and the trust. And we're cowboys, aren't we, Ryan Cannon? We say that time and time again. The internet is the Wild West, and we are cowboys.
I love it. You said you're pirates, too. So maybe pirates are guys you can trust.
Cowboys.
I'll do another version just for you.
The future is still writing itself. Well, you know what? We're going to say a little hello and a little thank you to our sponsors. They help us each and every week. A little bit, and we appreciate that. They do great stuff. They are independent businesses run and operated by real human beings, not part of a franchise or a conglomerate. They are true blue Hamiltonians.
Nice.
I love what we're doing here at Barbershop Podcast. So shout out goes to hamiltonartist.ca. That's hamiltonartist.ca. They're on the internet, and they are actually in a store, a really nice store at 1141 Main Street East at Balmoral. That's just east of the Delta. You can get them at 289-396-1653, or of course on the internet at hamiltonartist.ca. They print anything on anything. They help small businesses, artists, musicians promote and market their business. They're into t-shirts, mugs, banners, anything you can get printed on. You know, they can do it. You go see Maggie and Bob over at hamiltonartist.ca. You can get the orders done without having to visit the store if you don't want. Just check them out on the computer. They've got online offers and sales. The gallery's online. You can ask for member discounts when you're on there. Plus, when you go in the store, it's set up beautifully like a spa. They've got candles and jewelry, engraving. But again, if you got little teddy bears, shirts, like some beautiful shirts. I bought a shirt in there. You know what it was made out of? It was made out of soy. It was like soybeans, and it was softer than any cotton that I'd ever had.
That's
it was
wild.
Just really so completely
Crazy.
green. Yeah. So go visit our friends, 1141 Main Street East. That's hamiltonartist.ca. Good sponsor, good friend of Barbershop Podcast. We are here with Bob Bryden. Bob Bryden has a long storied musical history and career that spans decades, and he's got a new piece of work out that is quite a piece of work. It is good, very good. It's called Yorkville Days. It has songs from his life, and he's telling them in word and in song today. We've heard a number of different things from a number of different eras. Ryan's sitting in a big stack of Bob Bryden CDs in there. So are we going to go to video, Ryan? We got some videos too. We're going to go video. We're letting Ryan start to spin the wheel in the deck house there. Instead of him being, he doesn't want to get flat-footed.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Ryan?
What do you guys want? You want a video? What's next chronologically? Video or?
We were saying we should do something Christmassy, right? Wasn't that? Or you know, we can play something from the new album, which doesn't have anything specifically Christmassy, or we could do a Christmas video. It's kind of what do you want to do?
You got a Christmas video?
I got it all lined up.
Christmas-related video.
Let's do that. You want to do the yes? Let's do your Barky side. You were a little disgruntled at the commercialization and what has happened to Christmas and what it does to people having to be put through that grinder, and you penned something.
I did. Again, having been in retail and managed Star Records in Hamilton, one of my bandmates in a Hamilton band I was in called Benzine Jag, he used to work across the way from Star at Music World in the Jackson Square, and he would always come in, you know, and like drop his head on the counter and just, you know, this is my last Christmas in retail, Bob. So we talked about that for years. But it wasn't until about 20 years later that I finally wrote the song. So
you thought it's so lyrical.
I wrote the song Last Christmas in Retail. It's on the same album as Leopard Skin Cadillac Polaroid Verite album, and I just wrote it for beleaguered record store workers everywhere, or beleaguered retail workers everywhere.
Everywhere.
And there's a video. I put a little video together on YouTube, and
beautiful.
We've got that here.
We got it here at Barbershop Podcast. Ho, ho, ho. It's almost Christmas morning. Barbershop Podcast with Bob Bryden on Christmas Eve.
Hello.
A very special show.
I'm very pleased to
also.
be here. I want you to know.
Thank you. It's great to have you here. It's been a great show. I've learned a lot.
Wow,
and
cool.
in the end, I'd like to learn a little bit more about Yorkville Days. It's something you're quite proud of. You've got it almost everywhere, not just online, but in a lot of physical outlets.
Yeah.
Where are some of the places people can get a hold of this?
Right.
record?
I don't have a lot of, I'm not on the world tour, so I don't have a lot of physical mobility. Although I don't know if you've been following my Facebook posts. I did Europe in the summer, 3 countries anyway, Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, and I called it, in retrospect, my Euro record store tour, because I think I visited about 20 record stores. And all the pictures, whoa, we lost the poster again. There are falling posters. It's raining Miles Davis in this place.
Well, you know what? Can't have your cake and eat it too. One of the days we're going to get a banner for that.
I just shook the foundations of this place, folks.
Yes,
with
you
my
did
presence.
with your greatness. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Everyone is just so disappointed now.
I'm not. It's a nice poster of Miles, anyway, or it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the Euro record store tour, and I visited all these record stores, and I left my CD there, and I've got it everywhere I can possibly get it that I can think of at this point online. And it's for sale retail right around South Ontario.
Yeah. If someone sells a CD, good chance you can get Bob Bryden's Yorkville Days. And what track are we going to hear off it first?
I think we said we would do a song. Again, I'm not a country singer, but and the song's called "Cowboy Say Your Prayers," but it's actually not really a country song. So
there we go. Little Cowboy Say Your Prayers from Yorkville Days. Mr. Bob Bryden, Barbershop Podcast.
Once upon a time in the West, but John Wayne was never here. We're always at the mercy of the man who moved the cash. Mystery of economy. Memories of the crash. Hide the good china, bury the silverware, move your loved ones to the country. Cowboy, say your prayers. Cowboy, shed. He'll sting you in the chest. He smells like a politician who says he's looking out for you the best. Cowboys say your prayers. There's no place you can roam. Cowboys say your prayers. No place you can call home. Cowboys say your prayers.
Barbershop Podcast.
It's not my fault. Gary's not here.
Gary's not here. He's just so quiet and efficient. We assume he is. But if you want to hear the whole record, you're going to have to buy it.
That's right.
Yorkville Days by Bob Bryden. It's a great record. You're going to enjoy it.
Available at all the cool record stores.
All the cool record stores.
And I'm online, I'll admit it.
Yeah, you got to.
iTunes has it too.
iTunes has
But
it.
buy the hard copy. Get the album with the picture and the
You like
booklet.
that physical
Physical
something.
stuff you can touch, taste, smell.
Exactly. And you
Throw
can do
against the
all
wall.
of those with Bob's new record.
Except throw it against the wall.
Yes, no, maybe once, but only gently.
If you hate it that much,
we don't.
I'll give you your money back.
So, obviously music from the early days to right up now is front and center with you.
Still,
it's still,
yeah.
it's not background music, it's the score of your life.
Truly.
What's it at this point? What's your kind of like lesson if you're to be, put on that mountaintop and someone wants to struggle to get your piece of advice or your recollection or your mantra of what music has meant to you and means in general? What is it?
That's a loaded statement / question because it's just funny because, I just kind of shake my head. I've been through so much. I've been through so much that's not music related. I'm like everyone else. I've had lots of day jobs and I've tried other things and other careers. And it's just funny how I always come back to music. Music never really leaves, is really the truth. It just never really leaves you. Like they always say, it's in your blood. Well, yeah.
It chooses you.
It chooses me. Yeah, really. I didn't ask for this. Come on. It's chaos. Not only is it chaos, it's like, I've still never made it, so to speak. I've had to do other things to support my music, but maybe that's a good point to bring up because really anything else that I do is there, well, obviously to help me eat, but I do what I do to support my music. And I think it's kind of ironic, when you're growing up and you're a teenager or you're in high school or whatever, and everybody tells you, you're going to need something to fall back on.
Yeah.
It's just funny that I'm falling back on music right now.
Yeah.
It's music that I'm falling back on every level, emotionally, spiritually. Because as I was talking to your friend here, Scotty, earlier, you need things that give you hope, and music gives you hope. It's like when we get together in the Hamilton scene. I was sharing earlier with Scotty that I did that Beatles tribute on Saturday, and I was amazed at the love in the room, and that was among the musicians. Firstly, the camaraderie and the just the sense of love among the musicians. And David Crosby's first solo album has a song that he co-wrote with Neil Young on it called "Music Is Love." And I know this sounds really corny, but it's like. That was Neil Young and David Crosby, and the recurring line of the song is, everybody's saying that music is love. And so when I did just on the weekend, I was doing the show, and I could tangibly feel that love among the musicians. And the cynicism is easy, Luke. I want to avoid that thinking because we do this because it's love. We do this because we have great feelings when we do it. It feels great.
Well said.
And here we are. We're feeling great today.
Yeah, here we are, right on Christmas Eve, feeling great tonight. I'm going to play one more because I know we got one in the can. We got a nice little video for Christmas to honor the season.
Yes.
But we're going to honor Bob Bryden and Yorkville Days with one more song off of this excellent record, new release from Bob Bryden, Yorkville Days. What one are we going to do, Ryan? Going to do the best one, right?
Of course. Fly On, Flaming Arrow.
Flaming
Arrow.
I'd like to dedicate this song to my niece because she inspired it, Marissa Roy. It's for you, Marissa.
All right. Here on Barbershop Podcast.
confusion to his heart and to his mind, and all his plans turned to nothing but bluffing. Running through the night like a flaming arrow, running through the night alone, running through the night like there's no tomorrow, running till you find a home, fly on flaming arrows. All the chaff and gross deception rule his life, and all around there reigns confusion and interference from below, while up above the sky's burning, flying through the night like a flaming arrow, flying through the night alone, flying through the night like to pierce the marrow, flying till you find a home, fly on flaming arrows, fly on flaming arrows. Oh baby, I know it's hard to think straight. There's so many voices that call you their way. But up on a hill, there's a flaming torch that's lighting your way to your home porch. Under his wings, an angel holds you in his talons and keeps you in a state of balance. You know things before they happen. You feel the wind's fierce resistance. You go the distance. Flying through the night, my flaming arrow. Flying through the night alone. Flying through the night like there's no tomorrow. Flying till you find your home. Flying through the night, my flaming arrow. Flying through the night like there's no tomorrow. Fly on flaming arrow. Fly on flaming arrow.
Some Flaming Arrow right off of Bob Bryden's Yorkville Days. And this is Barbershop Podcast, and Bob has joined us on this wonderful Christmas Eve, the 24th of December. Remember that, Ryan Cannon? The 24th of December.
I can't wait for Christmas tomorrow.
I can't either.
I'm getting good stuff this year. I know it.
I am too.
I am.
I
got good stuff.
No, not really. My
No?
kids aren't old enough to come up with good stuff. Oh, yeah, I got a girlfriend, so I am going to get good stuff this year. That's something really happy about. Totally.
I can't wait for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, me too. It's like fight the crowd.
I don't know how I'm going to get to sleep tonight.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way.
Nice.
Well, we've had a fantastic time. We're not going to leave without leaving a little better light on Christmas than you know the last Christmas in retail.
Christmas is dead. Which
Christmas
is, another
is dead. And sure, those sentiments do get bandied about, but at the end of the day, Christmas is about good things and about that time of year, about brotherhood.
Absolutely.
And about love. And I remember you asked me, you said,
peace on earth, goodwill to all men. Absolutely.
you
Man,
said,
if we don't need it now,
we sure as hell do
Yeah.
need it right now.
for sure.
So there's a little beautiful video from Bob Bryden.
Hey,
I just
before the
wanna qualify a
video,
little bit.
we
Sorry?
want to share some love with some of
Oh
our
yeah,
other friends.
for our other friends, yeah.
Before we run out of time.
No, because we're going to come back and do the thing, but we'll do so I don't forget. I want to talk about our good friends at Shenanigans. They're our other sponsor. In what if you're Hamiltonian, used to be DiMaggio's, used to be Ronnie G's. Well, none of that now. Now it's Shenanigans, and it shall always be Shenanigans.
I like that name,
It is
man.
right across from Delta High School, right between Ottawa and Kenilworth. You'll find it right there at Houghton Avenue. Like them on Facebook. Browse their menu. They brought back some of your favorites. They got the fall off the bone ribs, tilapia tacos. I mean, the kitchen is really good here. Bigger and better pizza than before. And we have the pizza usually on Wednesdays, and the guests love it. Chicken wings, $7 a pound, $11 for 2 pounds, $11 for 2 pounds of wings. We had them the other night, didn't we, Ryan?
From what I remember.
I'm told they were tasty. No, they were excellent as usual. With all kinds of different spices. $3.75 pints. Make it your go-to place for the next time you're going out to a hockey game or anything else in town. They have weekly specials. Tuesday we got Clubhouse outside with $11. Thursdays is ladies' nights. Fridays and Saturdays they have live DJs. Girl likes to dance. Take her there. Shenanigans. It's like it used to be, but it's today. And so let's talk about this Christmas song.
Like it used to be, but it's today.
Hey.
Yeah, that's truly what it's all about. What I'm all about. I want it to be like it used to be, but it's today. I like that. I feel a song coming on.
Yes.
But yeah, so I formed the band Christmas. It's funny. I used to have this promo blurb that I used to put out called "The Man Who Invented Christmas." So, not too pretentious or anything, but. Christmas the band anyway. So but yeah, and I've written some songs. I plan to put out an EP at some point that'll be Christmas the season related, and I have some very unique, perhaps edgy takes on Christmas. We've already played Last Christmas in Retail, and it's obviously that cliche. It's a cliche by now to talk about the commercialization of Christmas, but it was a really heartfelt thing that I wanted to do there and did there. And I have a few other Christmas related songs, and one of them is the one we're about to play, and I just wanted to qualify it a little bit. I mean, this is just my, critical musician talking here, because the audio of this is actually a demo. It's just me on acoustic guitar, many years ago at this point, but I actually like this demo. I think it works just with one acoustic and the voice, and it's more the sentiment, and I'm very pleased with this song. This song to me is really what Christmas is all about, and it's traditional, but it's what it's all about, like you were saying.
Here we go. BarbershopPodcast.com.
Low above the mountains and the valleys and the seas, one star is shining and is guiding you and me. He has come to this place for the whole human race. We have come to this place to gaze on his face and worship him again and again. We are following the star. We are following the star. We are following the star to Bethlehem. We are following the star. We are following the star. We are following the star to Bethlehem. Oh, morning star, lead us on. We have traveled far through rain and through fire, our eyes on that star. We keep moving higher. We have come many miles to honor this child. We have come many miles to bring gifts for this child and worship him again and again. We are following the star. We are following the star. We are following the star to Bethlehem. We are looking for the child. We are looking for the child. We are looking for the child, born King of all. Oh, little child, lead us on. Brilliant child, sent from God to all men, to this planet wild, raging with hate and sin. You have come to this place for the whole human race. Now we live by your grace, and we gaze on your face and worship you again and again. We are following the star. We are following the star. We are following the star of Bethlehem. We have found the Holy Child. We have found the Holy Child. We have found the Holy Child, born King of all. We are following the King. We are following the King. We are following the King, born so lowly. Oh, great King, lead us on.
And there you have it, the spirit of Christmas, capsulated, wrapped up with a bow, right for you on Christmas Eve, a barbershop podcast from Mr. Bob Bryden, who shared with us the story of his life in music, his story as a Hamiltonian, and brought with us the true spirit of Christmas, I think, tonight.
Thank you.
And that's what's important, remember. Through it all, peace, love, goodwill towards men.
Absolutely.
Love your fellow man, and the chances are a lot better he'll love you back.
Right on.
Well, we love you all. Thank you so much, Bob, for coming in.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to see Miles is back on the wall.
He's back. He's not going anywhere now.
That's right. Miles is nailed.
He's nailed hard.
Properly.
All right, Ryan Cannon, once again, thank you so much. Scotty Bacalar filling in, and the smiley face in the dark background without a microphone. That's what we need.
Thank you for this. This was a real pleasure.
Our pleasure. Each and every week, a Barbershop Podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.